Strawberries. Everyone loves this beautiful, fragrant, exotic, and delicious fruit. It speaks to fine dining, happy times, and even romance. Unfortunately, strawberries are considered a luxury item here in the Caribbean, which means it's priced out of the reach of most of our pockets. But maybe more of us should consider growing strawberries in our home garden. This video will show you how we do it and will make recommendations for how you too can grow strawberries in your home garden. Welcome back to the Calyx Growing Things Garden. I'm Thelma, and today we're showing you a different part of the garden, the front garden. As many of you should remember from our first video, in our front garden we do concentrate on the ornamentals, but we also have a wide selection of our fruit trees, our exotic trees, as well as now we've introduced strawberries, and that's why we're here. But before we get started on the actual growing conditions and the growing activities in strawberry, let me just share a few interesting botanical facts with you. Despite its name, a strawberry is not a berry. From a botanical standpoint, strawberry belongs to the rose family. The fleshy part that we eat is actually a fusion of many ovaries, which produces what is referred to as an aggregate fruit. The dark specks on the outside of the strawberry are actually individual seeds. These seeds are viable and are used in propagating strawberries from seedlings. Why should we be growing more strawberries? Well, I've already mentioned its delightful flavor, its romantic appeal, as well as its high value. But perhaps the biggest reason why more of us should be growing strawberries is the health benefits that you get from strawberries. And here are just a few of the benefits. Because strawberries are high in vitamins, minerals, dietary fiber, and antioxidants, they help to support healthy functioning of the heart and the nervous system. As an added bonus, it is a low-calorie food with a 100-gram serving of raw strawberries containing only about 32 calories. So, who needs more encouragement than that? Not me. That's why we decided to include strawberries amongst our fruits in the front garden. But I could just hear some of you saying, I didn't know we can grow strawberries in the Caribbean. I thought it was a cool country crop. There are many areas in the Caribbean that are suitable for growing strawberries. First, let's look at the growing requirements. Strawberries do prefer a cooler climate. They do best at temperatures between 60 and 80 degrees Fahrenheit. And yes, there are many areas in the Caribbean where those temperatures exist year-round, and we're talking about the higher elevations. Because the Calyx Garden is located about 2,000 feet above sea level, we enjoy moderate climates year-round, and as a result, we can grow strawberries year-round. Strawberries can do very well at the lower elevations or higher temperatures if you time your planting to coincide with the cooler months. So scheduling your planting towards the end of September or October will mean that the strawberries will complete most of its active growing season during the cooler months. And what the strawberry needs really is to develop strong roots, lots of foliage prior to the flowering. The strawberries take about 4 to 5 months from planting in order to bear fruit. So if you plant in September, October, by January, which is quite cool, the strawberries would be in full bloom and will be producing nice, fresh, lovely strawberries for you by February and March. So now that we've covered when is the best time to plant, we should all get started. And in preparation for that, I expect that the first question you'd want to ask is, where do you get planting materials? And that was a problem for us too. Strawberries may be propagated from seeds or seedlings, from divisions, or from runners. We find it more convenient to propagate from the divisions, but that assumes you have a ready source of such materials. How we got started in this garden with the strawberries, we purchased about 5 divisions from a farmer, planted those in a small bed, and over a period of a year, grew very quickly, and we were able to multiply our stock. Where there are commercial strawberry producers, you can check them. Some of them are willing to sell you planting materials when they are thinning out their stocks. Seeds may be more difficult to come by, but you may extract them from fruits that you have purchased. So the second step is to select a location in your garden that the strawberries will grow well. And strawberries like sun in order to produce at its best, a minimum of 6 hours of sunshine a day, direct sunshine. It also likes fertile, free-draining soil. If your soil is not that fertile, we recommend strongly that you amend it. You work in some compost or well-matured farmyard manure into the bed at least 2 to 3 weeks prior to planting. The site we selected for this crop of strawberries is a raised bed in our front garden. It was planted the end of October, so now we're 3 months into the bearing, and some of you who have been following all of our videos will notice the plant in the back. This bed is primarily an amaryllis bed, but because the amaryllis hasn't filled out the bed, we are able to intercrop, and we'll keep the strawberries going as long as it can get enough light. So we mentioned that after 3 months you should see flowers, and here we are. Most of the plants have started flowering. In this section we have a total of 16 plants, and yes, they're all flowering just as the other section is, and we're expecting to be harvesting in about 4 weeks. Strawberry fruits from flowering to being ready for harvest, it takes about 4 weeks. You may see a few specks. There are very few pests here. Here's a strawberry that's coming up, coming in. There's another one. And that is the beauty of having strawberries at home. They don't all come in at the same time. So you search your plants regularly to make sure the birds and the snails don't get them before you. These here I would think should be really ready and ripe, ready to pick in about a week. And you should allow your strawberries to ripen on the plant, because once you pick them, they don't ripe anymore. So we're just going to demonstrate how to plant strawberries in a container. And yes, strawberries do very well in containers, but if you plant them in containers, they're not going to last as long as the 3 or 4 years that they will last in a bed. These are the last of the strawberries. We've been reaping from it and expanding production elsewhere in the garden, but I saved these few so I can demonstrate how to plant strawberries in a container. And you see these, we really don't plan to keep them. This bed will be repurposed for something else. So these are sections of a mature plant, and we're going to divide them and plant them. Dividing planting materials from an existing clump is as simple as carefully teasing them apart. I wouldn't try to divide this big one anymore. So we've gotten 3 young plants. And to prepare them for planting, you remove any older leaves, any of the trash. And while you're doing this, certainly if you're doing a lot of them, you make sure you keep them hydrated. But since we're only doing 2, there will not be enough time for them to dry out. Any old segment of the old root, you take that off. Great, I'll just clip off the tail end of that. So we are going to be planting these in a container, and they do grow well in baskets as well as in other types of containers that you can purchase. This container has a depth of about 7 inches and a width, a diameter of 11 or 12 inches. So it's fairly large. It can take, I will put 2 young plants in them, and we call that strawberries like drainage. So the first thing, a few pebbles to make sure that the potting mix does not compact at the base, shutting off the drainage holes. The organic components in this potting mix, and you call the strawberries like organic matter, I will just put some peanut trash in the base. They will also assist in drainage, followed by the compost, both drainage and nutrition. So I'm using the ratio of 2 parts soil, 1 part compost, and mixing in this container. Relatively easy to mix. I'm just going to layer them and then stir them in. After completing the mixing of the media components, I prefer to water, let it drain for about 10 minutes or so. We're going to insert the planting material in the media, and I just want to show you the correct depth at which to insert it. This is the crown, the growing part of the young plant, and you don't wish to bury it. When you insert it in the media, don't bury it too deeply. You make sure that the crown remains above the level of the soil, and that this applies whether you're planting in a container or in a pot. So in this container, well, we have 3. We're trying to allow each planting material about 8 to 10 inches of freedom to grow and expand, but I have 3. I'm not going to waste them, so I'm going to plant all 3 in this one. Then we will place this, since we've just uprooted them and disturbed them, shocked them, we're going to leave this freshly planted pot in a cool, protected area for about a week and slowly bring it out into the full sunlight. These 2 containers I had planted 2 weeks ago. They're now ready to be placed in full sunlight, and you see they're very nicely bright and alive, and there's no evidence of stress. You'll also notice that I have placed a layer of mulch on the top. Now, mulching is very critical for strawberries, whether in the beds or in containers. Apart from keeping a uniform moisture level, it also helps to protect the strawberries as they produce their fruits. You mulch whether with straw or, like I have here, peanut shells, grass clippings, etc. And just a bit about the fertilizing of your strawberry plants. Here we've incorporated manure in the mix, and once it's a fertile soil, if they are growing healthily, you should not need to fertilize until you see the flowers. Now, at the stage of the flowering, it is recommended that you apply a fertilizer high in phosphorus, high in potassium, usually referred to as the bloom booster, and apply that every 2 weeks or so. Other maintenance activities, as we said, the strawberries like regular watering, but not overwatering. So before you water, check to make sure that the soil is dry down to about 2 inches. In terms of pest and disease, very little you have to worry about in a home garden. You may see spots on the leaves, but those spots really do very little to reduce the overall production of your crop. That's it for strawberry growing today. We're going to keep you up to date on other aspects of growing strawberries. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and if you haven't subscribed already, please do. And for today, here comes the sun again. This is Thelma in the Calyx Growing Things Garden saying bye-bye.